In central excise, the excise duty is payable at the time of clearance of manufactured goods. In Finance Act 94, the service tax is payable on the services provided by a person or sometimes by the recipient of a service also. In GST Act, the word used is supply. The supply has been defined at section 3 of the GST Act. As per this definition, all sort of supply of goods, services with a consideration for furtherance of business is to be treated as supply. Then there is second category which says that the importation of services with consideration or without consideration will also be treated as supply. At the end of the GST Act, there is Schedule 1. In Schedule 1, there is list of services which are to be treated as supply even if there is no consideration involved. And in Schedule 2, there are list of services which have been to be treated as the supply. It is like the declared services which are there in the service tax at present. For example, the renting of premises for a commercial consideration is a declared service in service tax, and the same is also to be treated as supply under this also. This is one example. There are other such services also which are to be treated as supply under GST Act. The agents who are not actually supplying the goods and service, but who are facilitating the supply and service are also the supplier, and they are to be also liable to pay the GST. Similarly, the aggregator, the person who is operating the electronic platform for supply of branded service are also to be treated as supplier of outward supply, and they are to pay the GST on that also. Now, the importation of service with or without consideration, we can understand by an example that suppose there are engineers who are coming from abroad to India and giving the technical know-how to somebody here, then that will be treated as importation of service and are liable to pay the service tax. But when there is a consideration, the amount is specified, the person who is raising the bill, the amount is there, and service tax, the GST is payable on that particular amount. But in those circumstances where no consideration is involved, it is not clear as to how the valuation will be done and on what particular amount the GST will have to be paid. We will see how the government will change the valuation rule, because at present the valuation rule which have been annexed with the GST Act do not specify as to how the valuation in such circumstances where the consideration is not actually there, but it is to be treated as supply will be done, and how the GST will be calculated on the value. So, let us hope there would be some good clarification on that also. Thank you.